Hello and welcome to Plate Stack Chat. As always, I'm your host, Jason of Jason CF Media, and each week I am joined by some incredible guests. So let's introduce them now. First of all, we have a life coach, a CrossFit coach, and the head coach and owner of the South Beach Palms grid team, the lovely Bryleigh Hansen.
Hello.
Hello, Bryleigh. Welcome to the Plate Stack. How are you feeling?
Thank you. Good. Good, thanks.
And we are not alone. Joining us today is a CrossFit Level 3 coach who aims to give a tip a day. Also, technically joining us from the future, because he's all the way in Australia, it is the very charming Zachary Kaddatz.
Very charming introduction. Good morning, guys.
It's 10 o'clock in the evening for me, but yes, good morning, Zachary. This is the fun game of playing with time zones. So it's been nice so far. I think so far every episode I've recorded, we've been 3 different time zones, but this is by far the most extreme. The fact that
days.
yeah. Generally, it was like a few hours, but on the same day. It's the first time I'm speaking to someone in the future. So, how is Saturday?
Saturday's so good, dude. Every morning we wake up on a Saturday and we head to the gym and we call it Run Club. We go for a very casual run. So I've already done that. I'm back home, just having a bit of a drink and here chatting to you now. Saturdays are awesome, dude. Everyone knows that.
I can't wait. Can't wait to go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow on a Saturday. What are Saturdays like for you then, Bryleigh?
About the same minus a casual run. I'm not a runner, but Saturday's awesome. Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm not much of a runner either, but we started this thing called Run Club at our affiliate, and it's been one of the most incredible ways to get everyday people just running 2 or 3 or 4 Ks at whatever pace. Today we had like 20 or maybe around 20 people just come and run and talk and jog and whatnot. I'm definitely not a runner either. I'm a power based athlete, so it's a good chance for me to just get some steps. But so Jason, Bryleigh, tomorrow morning, Run Club.
Run Club, yeah. Maybe. Why not? Well, I know why not. The weather in the UK at the moment has been like horrendous, and there's been flooding kind of all around where I live. So the path that I would usually run, I imagine, will be quite a swamp. So that's probably the only thing that's putting me off doing a run club tomorrow.
I'll do my run. I got dragged in. Like I said, I'm not a runner. I'm also a very speedy athlete. I got a good solid 30-second sprints in me is all I'm good for. But I did get dragged into a 6-hour run on Sunday, like a relay. So I'll do it for you. I'll add that to why I'm doing it.
See, someone who says, "Yeah, I'm not much of a runner, but I've done." Oh, sorry, I'm dying. Someone says I'm not much of a runner, but I've got a 6-hour relay run. And also, Bryleigh, I've seen you've done a High Rocks.
I literally have not ran since High Rocks.
And your High Rocks was like on sand, wasn't it?
So yeah, we did the first one we had in Miami, and it was on sand. It was brutal, and then crazy enough, we actually made it to World Championships at Miami. So then we went to England and did World Championships in Manchester last year. So
nice.
So that's my career.
See, I didn't know that. I saw the video that went out about you guys doing it in Miami, but I didn't know that you then traveled all the way to Manchester.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Have you done like a High Rocks or anything like that? Is that happening in Australia?
Yeah,
it's happening everywhere else.
There's going to be one in Brisbane sometime this year or in the next few months. Brisbane's the biggest sort of city near where I am. It's where the Touring Pro's held, but there was a High Rocks late last year. I think it got a bit of hype because Ricky Garrard and James Newbury and a few of them did it, and that's it got a little bit of hype in the CrossFit space because of that. And I think they did pretty well, but yeah, I haven't really been exposing myself too much to that world, to be honest.
I mean, so you've well, I know your wife recently had a baby. Congratulations. Is that baby number 1?
Baby number 1. Yeah, if you don't count the dog or if you don't count the golden retriever, then yeah, it's baby number 1.
Yeah. So has that kind of impacted maybe, like something like a High Rocks, maybe something you'd like to go and do, but are you a bit more kind of conscious of your weekends and time away now and stuff because you've kind of got to lend a bit more support around the house?
Dude, 100%. Anyone, here's my puppy. Anyone that's had a child, and I'm realizing this more and more, that your priorities change or your focus shifts or whatever. And I was busy enough before I had a baby, coaching, managing and running an affiliate, and trying to get all my online stuff going as much as I possibly can. I was busy enough, so my priorities have definitely sort of taken a bit of a shift. It's been natural, been a totally natural sort of shift, but in terms of like doing a high rocks or something like that, I've sort of just continuing my own training and continuing that and making sure that that happens. Like that's a non-negotiable for me. Like my own training, even if you run into busy times or family and that type of thing, I'll stop and do 100 burpees if I have to. I'm not going to not miss out on my training.
I think it helps as well. I know when I started CrossFit, we already had our son, but then during the time that we were doing CrossFit, my wife, I think we started CrossFit. We'd had our son like a few years previous, and then during our time doing CrossFit, we were both going. And then when she became pregnant for the second time, she continued training for a little while and then had to stop, just because like the morning sickness was so bad the whole time. She just couldn't train. It was a nightmare. And there's that part of you that's like, oh, I feel bad that I'm going off to the gym and sort of leaving her at home when she's not feeling well, and or then when the newborn is there. But I was very much told I had to go to the gym because she's like, you're not, it's not good to be around you if you haven't kind of gone to the gym, done your workout, and then you're better at home. So it's better to have that hour that you're not here, but when you come back, you're kind of, lighter than staying at home and getting frustrated and stressed, and maybe not being as helpful. So yeah.
Dude, it's almost counterintuitive, but you've got to give to yourself before you can give to others, right? If you're only giving to others, you'll burn out or you'll run out of energy. You've got to give to yourself, even just a little bit, like an hour a day or an hour class or an hour workout, a couple of times a week. You've got to give something to yourself just so you can, and you've got the desire and drive to give to other people. So I definitely know where you're coming from.
And Bryleigh, you're doing like a lot of coaching and life coaching and training other people and that. So are you, I guess with both of you, with like Zach, what you're doing with the kind of training tips, and then Bryleigh with what you're kind of launching with your life coaching and just kind of bring it all together. You both seem to be quite motivated of sort of giving to others or trying to help others to kind of get the best out of themselves. Do you think there's anything that sort of motivated you to head in that direction in particular?
For me, life coaching is literally exactly what he just said. Like if you don't give to yourself, you don't have your full energy and your full self to give to everybody else. And that's what I've learned, and that's what I try to help people understand. Is people just a lot of people will just give, give, give. You don't pour into yourself, then you have, at the end of the day, you have nothing to give. And it's just like your wife supporting you in going to get that hour of training. She even says like you're better when you get that in, right? So that's what I've learned, and that's what I try, and that's why I quit my job and like dedicated my full time to life coaching. Is it's not just what you do in the gym, but it's everything you do outside the gym too. So it's the other 23 hours of your life. Like I also have a few clients where I try to help them. A lot of people will use that hour in the gym as a distraction from life. Which is good. I mean, obviously, like CrossFit and working out with, even if it's not CrossFit, just working out in general is obviously very important and like a top priority for me. And I think it should be for everybody. But if you're using the workout as a distraction, then you're not going to be able to give your 100% in anything else, right? Because you're not like focusing on the actual problem at hand. So yeah, like basically exactly what he just said. You got to give to yourself in order to fully give yourself to others.
Yeah, I've heard the illustration like kind of like a fuel tanker. If you're like a fuel tanker and it's got the whole back is full of fuel that it's there to give, to go and fill up a station or whatever, to give out fuel to all the different vehicles, but it's also got its own fuel tank. And like if that runs out, it doesn't matter that the back is completely full of fuel, because the fuel powering the actual tanker itself is gone. And that's kind of, if we've got so much to give to other people, and if we're not taking care of that little bit for ourselves, then we kind of just grind to a halt, basically, is where I've sort of heard it described in the past. I wanted to talk specifically about tips now because you know, Zachary, you have the daily training tips Instagram. I think that's how we first sort of met. Got to know each other was through that.
Either on YouTube or Instagram or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, some your tips are great. Some of them are like quite practical tips for getting a specific movement. Some of them are almost more life coach tips because it's like I think you did one recently of like throwing the rope down for the double unders.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being like, if you just sort of gently place the rope down, you're ready to pick it up again for the next round versus sort of finishing and just booting it down. So I thought that was interesting. Now, I don't know if you've watched any Grid League, so I'm curious if you've seen it pop up on YouTube or Instagram or anything like that, because there's obviously some movements in there that I would be intrigued to know if you reckon you could give people tips on how to do, or if you ever tried this kind of things yourself.
Yeah, dude. I started my page a couple of years ago, and a lot of it started with really practical tips on how to do a box jump or how to do an air squat or faster ways to do a burpee, and then it transformed a little bit, or some of the videos transformed into like, this is exactly where you should put your feet to do bar facing burpees faster, or this is exactly where you should put your feet to do burpee box jump overs faster, and giving people tips to take 0.1 of a second off their burpee box jump overs. And then, like you said, like there's like life tips in there. There's health tips. There's just like a broad range of things. But like with the Grid League, yes, I've seen it. Like I've seen as much as anyone's sort of seen that comes up on their Instagram or their YouTube, and I find it interesting. And I don't really know too much about the world, but I guess it's like CrossFit, but they use athletes that are more specialized for their specialty, and it seems more higher power output, like faster. So I guess I'm not sure like what the question really is, like how do I give tips to like to do a back roll to do a back roll in rings or what?
Yeah, I guess it's just if you felt confident that you'd be able, if like a member came up to you and was saying, "Hey, I've seen," they bring up Bryleigh's Instagram and they show you her doing, I don't know, was it like a
burpee
muscle up with
pistol
a
or
med
something like
ball
that.
or something,
Yep.
or a burpee pistol, so anything like that, and they say, how do I do this? Do you reckon just looking at the movement you'd be able to like reverse engineer
Yeah,
the best
definitely.
way to do it?
Maybe not some things like maybe I would probably steer away from doing things like a med ball muscle up,
Right.
because like my page, I don't really, it's not in the bio or anything, but the mission is general exercise advice for the general population for most of the time. So it's very like some of it gets pretty niche, but most of it's very sort of generalized. So do I give med ball muscle up tips to the general public? I don't know, but yeah, like I probably could reverse engineer like a burpee pistol. This is how you jump into the deepest squat on one leg, that type of thing, for sure.
Do people ask you for tips on this kind of stuff, Bridie, that aren't doing it? Like maybe they see you guys training and they just come over and say, "Oh, that looks that." Because I think I was speaking to someone the other day, and now I cannot remember if it was on a podcast or not, or if it was just in general conversation. But it was the idea of them like training to. They just kind of wanted to be fit enough to do party tricks. That was sort of the whole the whole goal. And I think I think obviously there are people that well, the day of recording this, which will be a few weeks before anyone hears it, there was a morning chalk up article came out because the grid is changing from Florida Grid League to United Grid League. So well done. It's been a big growth in the sport. So there's this change. And Morning Chalk Up put out this article. And then if you just scroll through the comments, there's obviously a lot of people kind of just criticizing what you guys are doing. Not really, no relation to the article at all. Nothing that's actually shown there. Just deciding to come and kind of fire a few shots at Grid anyway. So I think there are people obviously that see it and decide they don't like it. But I also think there are people that are thinking, oh, that would be pretty cool if I could just pull that off in the gym. If someone's just walking past and they see me jump up on the rig and do like a triple touch, I think that might be quite nice. Do you have kind of your more like general members ask you for that kind of stuff, or is there a big separation between like those that are doing the grid stuff and those that are doing the just regular CrossFit for daily living, let's say?
Yeah, no, there's a big separation. Grid's a sport. It's not like he said he would never just pull out a med ball muscle up. That's not a general thing. It is very much a specialized sport, and I've had a couple members like say that'd be cool to do. Most of them can't even do a pull up. Like I'm not going to let them do a double touch. But yes, it is very separate. And on the note of the morning chalk-up post, I just got to throw that out there because the negative comments are actually not that bad.
Right.
A lot more positive stuff on that right now than negative as far as the comment section goes. The ones that stick out the most are like, oh great, now let's spread injuries nationwide. But if you look at actual injuries during a grid match compared to literally any other sport, it is slim to none. Slim to none. Most people hurt themselves. If they're going to hurt themselves, it's going to be training. And most people, you don't train for grid every single day. So if you look, sorry, now I'm going to go into a rant because I was just like I commented on one person's comment and it was great. Now injuries are going to go national. Long story short, yeah, the league actually did some how-to tutorials too. Like I did the how-to tutorial for a double touch and a triple touch. You had someone do a tutorial for a butterfly ring muscle up. Then you've had one for like a freestanding handstand push up. But as far as like members coming up and asking me to teach it to them, no, because they know it's not something they ever need to do or want to do, or it's basically just for the sport. We're only doing that for the sport. We're not doing that in training every single day, let alone even every single week. Like when I do my grid training, it's like I'll do that stuff maybe once every few weeks.
Yeah. See, I think it's interesting that because again, I think because people make the link like kind of to CrossFit, and the fact that with CrossFit you can go to a CrossFit box and you can train, and then you can go to like your local competition and just do it with the training you're doing. They kind of make this assumption like, oh well, this is what you're doing like all the time. And you think, well, with other sports, you wouldn't watch like a gymnastics meet and then go, oh, I think I'm going to go and try that. You'd be like, oh no, they're gymnasts, or high dive or pole vault or anything really. You'd just be like, oh no, I don't know how to do that. That's clearly a specialized thing they've trained to do. But I just think because CrossFit training helps you to do grid, then people have made this kind of connection that isn't necessarily there. And then I look at it as like the kind of comments I hear from people that do CrossFit about Grid League, I liken to the comments I hear from people that kind of go to the gym about CrossFit. And it is things like, oh yeah, you're just injuring yourselves all the time. And you're like, actually, people that do CrossFit don't injure themselves all the time. And like I have another podcast, which is just the one for my local affiliate. And I speak to all the different members and kind of, a bit about their CrossFit journey. Why did they get in? Why did they start? And like the number of people that start CrossFit because they used to do another sport and now they have an injury that means they can't do that sport anymore, but they can do CrossFit. You sort of see that, well, look, it's not CrossFit that's hurting people. And then even, at the highest level, athletes that have come across from other sports, and it's usually sort of they had an injury that stopped them doing what was their initial sport, and then they moved into doing CrossFit. And then if they do get injured doing CrossFit, it's probably not that they got injured doing CrossFit; it's that it aggravated that injury that they had previously.
Yeah, I thought we've got past the point where we are making negative comments about what other people do. Like I must live in this narrow sphere where I let people do what they like, and as long as it's not hurting other people, I don't care. Like if people want to do CrossFit, I don't care. If people want to do bodybuilding, I don't care. Grid League, I don't care. As long as they're like being the best person they can be, like I don't give a damn. So like it's still surprising to me that there are comments like that. Like my Instagram, I might get 100 comments on some posts and they're literally all positive. I might put one video of a kipping pull up on YouTube and there'll be like 10 or 20 comments about it. It's just like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like people commenting just in general. But you're 100% right. Like with the safety and efficacy of all these training programs, like done properly, you're going to be sweet for basically forever. But that being said, like if you're doing it as a sport and pushing the absolute limits, that's when you can run into a few more issues. But that's also the beauty of just individual sports as well. I mean, grid is like team to an extent, but it's sort of more individual performances. Like you're pretty safe because you're in control. You're not in control when you're playing football, and that's why there are so many injuries, like the contact or the change of direction, and just the sporting aspect of all those sports.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about your run club earlier, and I think there were some statistics just about running as being like just because there is no barrier to entry for running. People just grab a pair of shoes and they can go out and run, and then they slip over or they get hit by a car or they get hit by a bike or things like that. And I think that like the data on how many people got injured just running, it's like it far outweighs what you would kind of consider to be the dangerous sort of sports.
Yeah, well, the
So
barrier to entry is so low. That's correct,
yeah,
and anybody at any stage in life can decide, okay, I'm going to go for a walk or a jog or a run, and they might be so deconditioned that they're just simply not ready to go for a 1K run, and they can run into issues or whatever. But that's the beauty of any kind of gym or an affiliate, or getting a coach or getting advice. Like, sure, the barrier of entry is going to be higher and it's going to cost you more, but you're going to get the advice of an expert who's going to tell you, no, let's just slow down a bit. Let's just squat to a box for the first few weeks, and then we can get on a bike and we can do all these things rather than, going into it almost blindfolded or unaware of the risk or the consequences. I mean, the risk for going for a run is extremely low, even for somebody that's deconditioned. But yeah, it's been shown that the rates of injury for running are much higher than something like CrossFit. But when you look at injury rates, like sports like NFL or here in Australia, rugby league or rugby union, rugby, it's sky high, and especially even for kids, and neck and head injuries for kids, like it's sky high, and people are worried about putting their kids in gymnastics or CrossFit or whatever. It's more of just like a cultural thing, which I wish more people were doing more about to try and correct or change that perspective.
I'm very disappointed because when you said like here in Australia, I was just waiting for Aussie rules football to come up, and you just didn't mention it, and I was like,
Yeah, that is massive, but I don't really bother too much about it. It's an incredible sport. They are Aussie rules football is almost like the ideal athlete in terms of like when ex Aussie rules footballers come into the gym. Almost the ideal sort of CrossFit athlete. Rugby players are extremely strong and powerful, but we find that they're really stiff and rigid in their movement. Whereas Aussie rules footballers, they've got much more of the like the neurological skills required for just general movement.
yeah. Have you ever seen this, Bryleigh,
No.
Aussie rules football? Because they play it on a cricket pitch, right?
Oh, not on a cricket pitch,
What,
but the same type of
like
yeah.
basically a circular
Mm.
pitch versus kind of yeah,
It's huge.
uh,
It's huge. Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah. But to
and
your point, people get hurt a lot more on that than any sort of CrossFit or anything. So, and
Yeah,
yeah, who cares about the haters? Just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
let it get you. Really doesn't matter.
yeah,
That's a them thing.
yeah. And I
yeah.
mean,
Quite
you've got
literally, it's a them thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you've got American football where you are, and that's people in pads with helmets just smashing into other people as hard as they can. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're pretty safe.
Yeah, I
We'll,
agree. I agree.
we'll be fine. Oh, sorry. Just keep dying. If anyone's listening to this, they're thinking that Jason's had a cough for about 3 or 4 weeks. We recorded a lot of episodes in advance, so by the time you're hearing this, I really hope I'm fine. And if I'm not, then I'm very concerned about what's going on. I was just one final thought that is I was thinking that the Aussie rules, like the uniforms they wear, very similar to the Grid League uniforms.
yeah, like the
Oh,
muscle singlet, the tight muscle singlet and the short shorts, and
Yeah,
Very, very similar.
yeah, I think so.
Now I got to look it up.
Well,
You're right.
not as many.
Not as many like super commercialized American like logos and graphics
No.
and things like that. More just like a stripe, one stripe down the middle,
Okay, but tight.
tight. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I listen to, the reason I make a podcast is because I consume a huge amount of podcasts anyway. And I know a lot of people will, probably listen to kind of the kind of things that Bridie would be telling them anyway, how to improve their life and get the most out of it. I listen to a lot of comedy and a lot of just sort of nonsense shows, just stuff to kind of, distract my mind while I'm working and things like that. But a huge, like an unusual percentage is from Australia. And that's where I get kind of a lot of my Australian knowledge comes from these podcasts. So,
Who do you listen
I
to?
feel like who do I listen to? So I probably started listening to the Weekly Planet was the first thing that I was listening to. But then I listened to like Hamish and Andy.
Yeah, right. They're massive
Yeah,
over here. They are
yeah,
very
yeah,
popular.
yeah. Oh, I haven't got one of their shirts actually. I was gonna go grab it, but it's in another room. But yeah, and then just I mean a load of podcasts from mostly Australian comedians that host them. But that's that. So this might be controversial. I don't listen to music. So I don't know if you guys are big kind of music people. You both train a lot, so I'm assuming you probably have a lot of music on in the gym when you're working
Dude,
out, stuff like that.
growing up, I was way more into music than I am now. Like, I still enjoy listening to music, but if I'm working out, it's honestly like podcast or content or something like that. But if I'm doing something intense, I might put something on, like with a bit of a beat. But honestly, like if I'm working out, I couldn't tell you what song played last because it's the furthest thing from my consciousness like possible. And every coach gets a member like change the song or put something else on. Or I'm like, how do you even know what's playing? Because when I'm working out, I'm just not focused on that. I'm focused on working out.
That is interesting. What about you, Bryleigh?
Yeah, I listen to music when I work out. The music thing's funny. Yeah, I'm not nearly into music like I used to be. Because subconsciously, like it's not always good music. Like the words that you listen to are not great, you know? Like especially when you're sad, like you tend to listen to more sad music and what's that going to do? It's just going to make you more sad. Like when people start to realize like so like I kind of cut music out. Like I couldn't tell you like the up-to-date artists or anything anymore, but now I've been really big into cuz I do need a beat when I work out of some sort. Like
Right.
but I've been huge into NFX.
Right.
Have you heard of NFX?
I don't listen to any, any
Yeah,
music.
it's so like the dude. I mean, the beat is just really good, and the words are just like it's just positive. It's like positive music. So I don't know, makes me want to lift more.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
break.
Because so I'm just a member at my affiliate. So when I go, I usually go. I train in the class, so I have no control over the music. They put on whatever they want, but I'm kind of like you, Zach, in that I almost block it out. Like in the ideal world and those kind of things, I would just train in silence. I would just have nothing on and just go to that dark place in your mind and just like on the rower. But if I'm like training at home or I go for a run, then it's a podcast and I'm listening to people talk. And yeah, and someone said, well, "Why don't you like music?" And I was kind of like, I quite like the lyrics, but I just sometimes feel like the music gets in the way and it makes it hard for me to understand what they're saying. So if we could just get rid of that, I can just listen to the lyrics. That's fine.
Is that
But
you? You would like to listen to the lyrics?
yeah,
Because if I had the choice, I'd get rid of the lyrics and just have the beat.
Yeah,
oh
that's
really?
how that's how I am. Yeah, I don't
Because
want the lyrics.
because a lot of music, yeah, like you said, Briley, like the message or the lyrics aren't too crash hot. You're like, damn, this song's pumping, this is so good, and then it's something about like sex, drugs, or rock and roll or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't vibe with this at all. This is not this is not my
Yeah.
kind of.
I
So
mean, I mean, I think I have very tame music taste anyway. So, and you were saying like you're not up to date on the latest kind of music. I feel like, yeah, 10, 15 years ago, I could have probably told you who all the new people were, and then it just stopped. And there was just it's because, it's probably when I stopped listening to the radio, and then I would never hear the new stuff. So I would only listen to stuff I already had. And then podcasts came along, and I just never had to listen to music again. So,
Yeah.
but I have kids, and they listen to music, and they like singing, and as I mentioned on the last podcast, my wife is from the Philippines, and they notoriously, like in their culture, love to sing, love music. Like if they get together and have a kind of gathering all together, you can guarantee someone breaks out the karaoke machine. They want to sing. So they're all super musical, and I am very much not musical.
Do they dance much? Like they sing and dance and all that? Not so much.
Less, no, not so much dancing.
Okay, I'd fit in.
It's more the singing. You'd fit.
I'd fit in. I'd fit in because I can sing all right, but I've got no rhythm whatsoever when it comes to dancing. It's so funny. I can do a lot of cool things with my body, but I cannot dance. I've got no rhythm.
I'm with you. Zero.
Yeah.
I got you.
A circle creates on the dance floor when I'm there because they're trying to get away from me, not because they're trying to highlight me.
Yeah. Like definition of white girl, that's me. Like my picture's on that definition. I don't dance.
So it is interesting because, as you said, like you can do incredible things with your body. I mean, you're both very, very good athletes, and you can do a lot of very technical, difficult movements. And it is funny that you would assume that kind of that body control would just automatically translate into like the ability to move in the way you wanted to on the dance floor. So I'm intrigued to know what it is that is kind of that mental block that says like, no, I can do an arch to a hollow, that's fine, but trying to move my legs and arms at different times, no, that's not going to happen.
I tell you what, I do think confidence has got a lot to do with it. Like you see people in the gym every single day, they're like, oh, I could never do that, and they're talking about whatever they're talking about, a kipping pull up or a push up or a pistol squat. But you're like, yeah, just like follow these few simple steps, and then in a few weeks or a few months, you're going to be able to do a push up. It's probably the same type of thing, but I don't have the same sort of drive for dancing.
Yeah, you got to own it. Most of the time, you got to be up late to dance too, and I just it's not for me.
I mean, that is another interesting thing of kind of CrossFit culture is nobody stays up late anymore. Everybody is like early to bed, early to rise. It's very relaxed in that sense. I say everyone. I don't think that's quite true, but I think the majority that do that. Like I think obviously we've just gone through the new year. I think the number of people that just slept through the new year that you would see sort of talking about it on Instagram or that you'd meet and would talk about it is much higher. Like that percentage is a lot higher when you're talking amongst kind of people that do CrossFit than when you were just the general population sort of in your town or around that are all about the nightlife and staying up late. But at least that was my experience anyway.
Well, one of my theories is that people just don't realize how good they're meant to feel in their day-to-day life. And then when you start working out and you start improving how you're eating or your sleep and nutrition, you do start to realize, cool, I actually feel amazing. I've got lots of energy. And then when you have a late night or if you have a couple of drinks, the next workout, the next morning, you're like, oh man, I feel terrible. I cannot perform. I feel lethargic. I feel sluggish. And a lot of the time, I don't even have to have conversations with clients or members about these types of things. They come to me and say, I went out last night to the bar or whatever, and I just did not feel good today. I'm probably not going to do that next time, or I'm probably just going to go out for dinner instead of drinks or whatever. And people come to these realizations. A lot of people, not everyone, come to these realizations themselves that they can actually, they're in charge of how they feel. And a lot of CrossFitters are willing to give up their New Year's Eve parties just so they can work out on January 1.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes comes down to like getting over FOMO, right? It's not necessarily the drinking or anything, but it's like you feel like you need to be somewhere because that's where everyone else is. So it's getting over that hump, and I also think there's a certain age where that happens.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just be able to push yourself, 3 days in a row, just keep going. If you wake up, just keep drinking, and then you'll get better if you just keep drinking. But I think you get to an age where like you're not missing out on much because they're going to be the ones that feel like shit tomorrow, and I'm going to be
100%.
fine.
You can do that when you're 21. But with the
Right.
whole FOMO thing, that's why the gym or the training environment is so powerful, because you get to surround yourself with people that are interested in the same thing. So it's more like you've got FOMO with if you don't get to come in and work out as well. So
Right.
you surround yourself with the people that you want to be like, then, and the same types of people, you're going to set yourself up for success.
100%. My FOMO is now my bed. I was
Ah,
actually in bed at 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve. It's pretty early. Yeah, that was a good one for me.
Yeah,
So
I got woken up by fireworks going off because I was like fast asleep.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, it's kind of come up organically again, but this is weird because it's come up every episode so far. We've talked about like age and how that plays into things. Um, Zachary, can I ask how old you are?
nearly 32. I'm turning 32 in about 3 weeks. So 31.
Now, it would be rude of me to ask you, Bryleigh. So you can either volunteer the information if you like, or
no,
you can just say older or younger.
I'm also 31.
You're 31 as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Fine. All right. Interesting. I mean, I've said it every episode, so I'm 37, so I'll just throw it out there once again. But
Yeah.
I know I look very young and youthful.
Dude, you look young as.
Yeah, yeah. I think I said 12 when I was speaking with Bethany, but
That's stretching it. That's a push.
yeah, but I do think all of these things, like the way you train, the reason you train, all the recovery side of things. I mean, I'd really made a concerted effort, like not a resolution. I don't kind of go in for that, but just and actually I put in these changes before the new year because I also don't like that kind of like if I realize I need to change something, I don't like to say, well, I'll do that from Monday, because if I need to change it, I should probably just change it, right? Like I do it now. So I sort of started this anyway in December, but had really kind of thought about my sleep. Want to make sure I get better sleep. I hadn't been sleeping well, stuff like that. Um, but that being said, it's almost 11 o'clock, and I'm still here sat at a computer talking. So I'm failing on these goals, but yeah, try and sleep better is a real key one for me, I think.
You're killing it. Way to be up at 11. I would have taken a hard pass if it was 11 p.m. my time.
Yeah, but I wanted to get Zachary on,
I just kidding.
and I think the other times he gave me that would have been quite reasonable for him were like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. for me. I'm like, oh, I think I'd rather stay up
My
late.
my apologies, mate.
It's not your fault. You didn't create the time zones. I don't think you even chose to be born in Australia, so it's absolutely not your fault. I give you a pass on all of this. I did want to ask if your wife can dance.
My wife can dance. Probably about the same capacity as me. She can dance, apparently.
She can, yeah. I was gonna say, I was just gonna say, is that?
What's that?
Oh, I thought she was speaking to you again. I thought we were getting a follow up on the answer.
No, she's in the background. She's like, "What? I can dance." She can. You can come in the background and give us a go if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that popped into my head, but I was just curious because I think we've been because I also can't dance. I told Roderick this on episode 1 because he did that meme of like dance moves that were all kind of CrossFit
He
moves. I
is
don't know
so.
if you saw that. So it's like the
He's a
kipping
good
pull up
dancer.
and
Yeah.
yeah. And I told him I really like that meme because I can't dance. But I have been at places where my wife is like, "We should dance," we should dance, and I really don't want to dance. Like I don't want to dance. I don't think you really want me to dance, but you think you want me to dance, but I don't think that's really what anybody
It's it's
wants.
it's
Um,
one of those situations where you're embarrassed for yourself, but everyone else is embarrassed just to be around as well. So I can definitely resonate. I can definitely resonate with that.
Okay. All right. Well, who knew that we were going to end up talking about dancing at the end? But I'm glad we did. I promised that I would keep these short. This one's I said this last time as well. This one's run a little bit longer than I probably promised, but I also coughed a lot, so I feel like it's partly my fault. Uh, I'm sure you both have lots of interesting things coming up. If people want to know more about you or find you on the internet, where can they go? Bryleigh, let's start with you. Where's the best place to find your many adventures?
I know. I actually, when we very first started, I was like, "Oh, Zach's a genius. He put his he put his Instagram. I didn't put my name. I'm like, fail. I failed there. Mine just says Bryleigh. My Instagram is Bryleigh, how it's spelled there. Last name is Hansen, Hansen. I also have a YouTube channel, so look up Bryleigh or CoachBryleigh.com.
Yeah. And Zachary,
I
you've got
just
multiple Instagram things.
uh yeah, I've got so much going on Instagram. But yeah, if you want to go on YouTube and follow me at Zachary Kaddatz Daily Training, that would be the best thing ever. Because I mean, we Briley, I just followed you while we were on the show. It seems to like Instagram, we're both having reasonable success there, but it's so hard to for me to grow my YouTube. So if everyone wants to go on YouTube and subscribe, that'd be great.
Okay. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, just look in the description, and in the description there will be links to both of their YouTubes. So you can just click on that link, quickly click subscribe, and then that would be a very nice thing to do. There's also links to their Instagrams as well, so you can navigate that and find everyone that way. Thank you very much, Briley and Zach, for coming on and spending an evening for me or a morning for you. Or it's what is it? It's like 6 p.m. where you are, Briley.
Yep. Yeah. 550. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So it's been different times for all of us, but it's been an absolute pleasure. I think we just heard a little bit of your baby in the background there, Zach. So it was nice to get a
Yeah.
little guest appearance as well, snuck in at the very end. Appreciate that. Thank you everyone for listening or watching. Don't forget to go and subscribe to their YouTube channels because we'd all like that. And see you all next week around the plate stack.
Thanks for having us.